like to present my additional report. It's some related to the material that I have discussed yesterday, and also it related to the possibility of realization of self-supported nuclear fusion without any additional efforts. It is self-controlling quasi-stationary nuclear fusion in magnetized low-temperature hydrogen plasma, and its possible manifestation is nature. Okay, introduction, very shortly. There are several traditional mechanisms for realization of LN based on several basic conceptions. First one, for example, using intracrystal electric field. Another one, using some changing of structure inside the crystal for increasing the effect of screening, and one additional transformation or transmutation of proton into neutron, so on, different method. To optimize different methods, the most effective is the principle of Occam razor. To implement this mechanism completely, this mechanism that I have discussed, a necessary special method required, most of them in one time, a single experimental phenomena for repetition of which is necessary to prepare a new active medium, so on. Such on one-time nature of the manifestation of this method and the associated lack of multiple regular repetition of instigated nuclear processes are one of the fundamental reasons of the very great problem for realization, for practical realization of lander in real industry, for example. In the work, we consider more efficient mechanism of self-similar and self-controlled simulation nuclear fusion implemented through the use of short-term and self-controlled very frequent giant particle energy fluctuation is low-temperature plasma or in low-temperature hydrogen gas in the presence of stable stationary magnetic field. In this process, we'll be using the same physical phenomena, generation of giant energy fluctuation by the formation of special coherent correlated state, but not in the crystal structures, mechanical structures, but in usual low temperature gas. On this picture, you can see approximately the same result. Is a very short information about the modification of uncertainty relation Geisler to Schrödinger uncertainty relation using the coherent correlated state. I have discussed it. Just a moment. Okay, I have discussed such problem yesterday. It is not necessary to repeat once more. So we can, in this case, for correlated state, we have modified uncertainty relation, for example, energy, time, pulse, and coordinate, so on, and lead to increasing such part very, in effect, it's possible to introduce the effective Planck constant in increasing of value of such Planck constant by many thousand times. But it's interesting, the Planck constant, it is, in fact, is the body between classical and quantum mechanical world. If we increasing Planck constant, it's possible using quantum mechanical properties in our nature, in our macroscopic world. Okay. It is the same process I have discussed before. For example, if we have non-correlated states, for example, particle is situated in some potential well, the fluctuation is very small. For example, less 0.024 electron volts. But in the case of correlated states, if such system is under temperature, for example, room temperature, fluctuation may be many tens of kilo electron volts. Also, I have discussed this one. It's several slides. Uncorrelated states, because the formation of coherent superposition of Asian functions in uncorrelated state, and it's a usual mixed without any phase relations. Okay. It is also the simplest method of realization of such system is associated with changing the parameters of the equivalent harmonic oscillator. It is a method of calculation. Such method is based on the solution of non-stationary Schrödinger equation also. And one of the simplest ways to form such situation is associated rapid decrease or increase in the length of parabolic potential well. If you're using the traditional mechanical system, for example, two atoms in the lattice, and between additional ions, it is in fact in the potential well. And also maybe increasing frequency or decreasing frequency. It is a result of decreasing of size of potential well or increasing. It's related to the mechanical systems. Okay, let's consider the dynamic of formation of coherent correlated states, and at pulse action close to stepwise model of increasing the oscillating frequency. For example, increasing the such oscillating frequency. Not periodic, I yesterday discussed periodic modulation. It is only one step, increased correlated state. For example, by this law, it is a factor of changing of magnetic field. And also you can see after using such process, it is easy to calculate the formation of coefficient efficiency correlation as a function of time for different such parameters, yes. Okay. So if we have such very great increasing of coefficient of correlation or increasing of efficient Planck constant, it leads to the very great increasing of the coefficient of transparency of potential well. It's also I have discussed it yesterday. That's new. Okay. Mentioned above, it's just what is new. Of the formation of coherent correlated states and the generation of giant fluctuation of energy and momentum of charged particle can be effectively released not only in the real material oscillator, but in the case of cold plasma or cold gas during a rapid change in the frequency of non-stationary harmonic oscillator when corresponding the moment of charge in the magnetic field. It is well known cyclotron frequency. It is well known that an energetic spectrum and agent functions of electric charge in magnetic field is totally the same that usual very ideal harmonic oscillation. We have the same wave function, we have the same spectrum, so all parameters. It's characteristic parameter, frequency, yes. Okay. In such a system, so if we can using charge and a very fast changing magnetic field, in this case we can form coherent correlated states of such charge. In such a system, with each act of the very sharp switching on a magnetic field, a coherent correlated state of ion located in the region of action of this field will be formed. Tau it is a characteristic time of increased or changing of magnetic field. But in the low temperature magnetic hydrogen plasma or hydrogen gas discussed below, the lifetime of such correlated states is limited by the free path time of motion of plasma and described of such value. In such a collision, the coherent superposition of agent function in dephasing and the giant energy oscillation stops. It is easy to estimate such value for realistic plasma. For example, typical plasma with such concentration from 10 power 14, 10 power 18 centimeter, at, for example, necessary temperature about 10 up to 20 electron volts. The typical such time is 10 power minus 7 minus 8. But if we have typical, if we have taken intention that particles in this case has very great energy, great velocity, we have the very great time of existence of such system. For example, although calculation made by using of magnetic field strength about 3 kilo Ørsted. Okay. Most interesting next. It's all discussed process. It's related to one step process. Increasing magnetic field was one field, another field. So process only related on this such transition area. At the first glance, it might seem that in the case of an oscillator formed on the basis of the interaction of charge with a constant magnetic field, such an effect can occur only during a short initial time interval immediately after the magnetic field is turned. At the first glance, it also seems that such a system is ineffective due to the need to very often turn of a strong magnetic field is necessary, very specific inductance, a very strong system, and so on. But a more detailed analysis showed that in such a system there is a fundamentally different mechanism for self-controlled and repeated switching on and off of the interaction of change with constant magnetic field. Due to natural switching on and off of the particle change during self-controlled alternative process of recombination and ionization. During the process ionization, we create charge, and during recombination, we create a neutral atom. So, in fact, traditional point of view frequency, it is a necessary change magnetic field. In more interesting process, we know we change the charge state of atom. Ionization, recombination, ionization, recombination. So we can repeat such process, switching on and switching off interaction of magnetic field, constant magnetic field system. In each step will be formed process correlated state. The duration of each multiple repetition interval the ionic state of the hydrogen until the multiple repetition is in plasma with such temperature is described by such well-known formulas. Here is the Saha formula. And we have also, it is a time of duration of ionization state in the form ion and the time of duration of in atomic form. We have two processes, atom ion, atom ion, atom ion. And also, each repetition ionization act lead to the automatic rapid activation of the mechanism of quantized motion and lead to the formation coherent correlated state. At this stage, effective nuclear fusion takes place involving such virtually very hot particle with energy about, virtual energy about up to 50 kilo-electron volts, and so on, and often plasma warm particle in the corresponding composition. Subsequent triplet collision of this nuclei with electron in the low temperature plasma lead to their recombination to the state of neutral atom. After a short time, these atoms are again converted into ion with the repetition of the same process. It was shown in our works the concrete duration of such process, that the duration of existence of correlated state, exceeds the duration of atomic state on the several model efficiency. So let's consider very good illustration. For example, you can see it is usual description of changing in time state of stationary of gas, hydrogen gas in magnetic field. We have first one, ionization process ionization lead to formation of coherent correlated state, lead to generation giant energy fluctuation. After we have recombination from atomic state. Next step, self-ionization, self-recombination. And duration of atomic state is much low, the duration of ionization state. And so in such system, it is a coefficient of probability, it is a coefficient efficiency factor. It is a part of the old time where the particles in a state of coherent correlated state is very large value, about 50%. 50% in low temperature hydrogen gas that's situated in magnetic field, the process of formation automatically coherent correlated state without any effort, with any action on such system. It is a self-controlled process. It is very important. The dynamic of such reaction, for example, DD generation of helium-3 or tritium and proton, is which are described by the well-known equations, Harris. And also it is dependent of the main parameter, averaged product of cross-section and velocity also. And also with such a value, although average rate, the formed fusion efficiency, calculated fusion efficiency is very large. For example, it is a plasma with concentration about 10 power 14, 10 power 18. It is very close to the atmosphere, less by several, maybe time or 10 times. the velocity of reaction about 10 power 16, 10 power 20 per centimeter cube per second. And also, it is possible, in such idealized case, possible such generation of energy, about from 5 kilowatt up to 50 megawatt per centimeter cube with an unlimited long time. It should be noted that the actual specific power of energy release will be significantly lower due to the following process. During such process, we have the increasing release of energy, heating of plasma. If we have the heating of plasma, so it is a very low efficiency of recombination. So it will be self-controlled process. Temperature not will be increasing to very large value and don't decreasing to very low small value. Because self-controlled process optimization between ionization and recombination. Very important, in fact, that such nuclear fusion in low temperature plasma can last an indefinitely long time. It does not require large experimental of energy. Another very important advantage of the coherent correlated states based LAN reaction is connected with the possibility of very significant increase in the pulsed effective temperature, up to maybe 50 kilovolts and so more. So it is possible using not simple reaction D plus D, but it's possible using reaction, for example, this reaction for this boron. It is very perspective reaction because it is a neutron-less reaction, but it is possible realized in usual system similar tokamak also because the temperature is very low tokamak in such a relate. And this system is possible, of course. It is very important that this self-sustainable nuclear fusion can start in the fairly large volume from a low temperature plasma, but not plasma, low temperature hydrogen gas, usual cold gas, and if we have the magnetic field and some isolation, lead to the formation of such self-controlled regime, transition from ionization recombination, each act of ionization, the process formation, creation of effective oscillator in magnetic field take place, and it leads to generation of giant energy fluctuation for a long time. Very interesting, the process considered above can be implemented not under the condition of the terrestrial laboratory, but also under condition in space, in stars, and so on. For example, let's consider a situation in sun atmosphere. Typical example, it is very unique situation because the surface of sun, it is the so-named photosphere. The temperature of chromosphere is about 5,000 degrees. But if we have increasing the magnitude over the chromosphere up to approximately 1,000 kilometers, the temperature increasing up to several millions degrees. It is absolutely contradict with law of thermodynamics, what is impossible. Cold surface, and immediately under the surface, temperature increasing by many, many times. But it is very simple. It is well known that from in the atmosphere there is a very frequently vertical injection of gas plasma atom with magnetized substance. It is named specules. At the same time, there are around about million such specules any moment on the sun surface. The contents of specules is the traditional sun gas. It is hydrogen and helium, and temperature is about less. It's about 10,000 degrees. It is less 1 electron volts, and such process, such specules injection with velocity about from 50 up to 100 kilometers per second and increasing to the altitude of several thousand kilometers. The constant of such specules is a very strong magnetic field with magnitude about from 3 up to 5 kilo Ersted, and cold hydrogen plasma. It's all conditioned for formation of such processes in such a speculus. You can see the photos are speculus. You can see. It is speculus. Oh, sorry. Speculus. It's speculus. Speculus, speculus, speculus. And self-heating of such speculus lead to very strange, absolutely abnormal from tradition or from thermodynamics point of view, heating of the sun atmosphere over the cold surface of sun. Very interesting. And also there is interesting that it is a typical composition of such gas, and also very interesting in the contents of such speculus were observed very great concentration of helium-3, increasing approximately 10-20 times in relation to usual concentration. It is very simple, because if we have such reaction, we have formation helium-3, and we have observed such helium-3. Also a process, that is last picture, similar mechanism of D plus D reaction is a good agreement with the result of experiments on the registration of neutrons during the electric discharge in air. For example, the similar registration of neutron during the lighting decrease. If, for example, one of the experiments was published, it is a generation of neutrons during lighting discharge. It is very simple. If we have electric discharge, it is very strong electric current, a strong magnetic field. During the ultraviolet radiation from such lighting, the process of formation of ionization state of different atoms, molecules take place, and its lead combination of ionization atoms and strong magnetic field lead to simulation of nuclear reaction in generation of neutrons. It is very interesting process, maybe discussed in special reports for this. So many other manifestations of this same process are formed in nature, and thank you for the attention.